Hello there, Commonwealth from here. The Nintendo Switch is about to become the oldest Nintendo home console, with only the Famicom in Japan still going for even longer without a successor. But are these the final months of a dying system, or just the beginning of a new chapter packed with upcoming game announcements confirming that the Nintendo Switch still has years to go before being replaced? The answer is in this video, so be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell as we're going for 2023 likes in this very 2023 video. And let's see what is on the horizon beyond Zelda. What we demonstrated in our top 10 Switch games coming in 2023 video is that this year is already packed. Fire Emblem Engage in January, Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe and Octopath Traveler 2 in February, Bayonetta prequel in March, Hollow Knight Silksong along with many other indies in spring, naturally Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in May, and the return of real Pikmin after 10 years sometime in 2023. All promising a year packed to the brim with first-party, indie and third-party releases, especially in the first half of the year. But is this it? And with May 12th and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the system is being replaced with the same dual launch strategy we saw for the Switch replacing the Wii U? After all, by that day, it has been well over 6 years since the Nintendo Switch came out on March 3rd, 2017 with Zelda Breath of the Wild. You know, the Switch Wii U dual launch, followed by Super Mario Odyssey in October. So let's address the elephant in the room right away with a quick response. As much as some are screaming for it due to technical performance issues in recent unoptimized titles, I don't think Nintendo wants to or is even ready for it. The reason is simple. Throwing away their most successful home console hybrid at the same age they ended the Wii is not only premature, it could potentially also be dangerous. Nintendo remembers well the gigantic Wii #1 confidence evaporating within the first year of the Wii U and wants to avoid a repeat of the greatest failure minus the Virtual Boy at any cost. Even if that means that the Switch has to go on for a few more years with less power than the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. And with this in mind, I even see it more likely that they will just adopt the iPhone or smartphone cycle or just have new models of the same system. And the first of these, the OLED model, has already started this trend in 2021. It is just that most haven't noticed it or are simply ignoring it. In this case, the first Nintendo Direct of the year will be crucial, as it will most likely deliver the answers we want by say mid-February. Less than 2 months away from the premiere of the Super Mario Bros. Movie and 3 months from the release of Nintendo's most important sequel of all time, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Here we'll see what sort of life is left in the Nintendo Switch and whether there are any big releases to come in the second half of the year. Why do we say this? It's the first Nintendo Direct or general Nintendo presentation of the year always reveals games to fill in gaps in spring, but mainly add titles for the summer and fall season. We saw this in 2017, 2018, 2019 minus 2020, which had no general Nintendo Direct, and then 2021 and 2022. In 2023, we'll see this again, and potentially with games running on even more powerful hardware. Though once again, this one being more likely than not, rather an expansion to the existing Switch family of models than a successor. A big hint of this continued approach, apart from the OLED model since 2021, is naturally the second half of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, a 30th anniversary celebration of Mario Kart, which has pushed any sequel back to 2025. But can the new Zelda run well on the Nintendo Switch and with potential DLC? Absolutely. With overclocking updates for reduced loading times in 2019, we've seen that Breath of the Wild can keep up well despite its age. The same can be said about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 last year, which pushed the boundary of what is possible on the Switch. The truth is simple. Talented developers in-house, aka Nintendo and Monolith Soft, are able to squeeze out as much as possible out of the specs of this hardware. Not only that, the first games on the system never look the same as the final ones. We've seen this with pretty much every console generation. Hence, there's no reason to believe that this cannot run on the Switch. The truth is that Breath of the Wild was developed for the Wii U and only slightly upgraded for the Switch with a slightly higher resolution. It was first later that the game took advantage of the system's power, but only its overclocking for the loading times. In other words, there's just so much more that can be done with the same engine when taking full advantage of the hardware in question. No doubt, the Wii U held Breath of the Wild back, and Tears of the Kingdom will demonstrate the true power of the Switch. Not only that, on the Switch, OLED model, and potentially the next step for the Switch family of systems. The new model that stands above the rest, including when it comes to price. seeing that we had new hardware models in 2017, 2019, 2021, and well now it seems to be 2023. Now, let's move over to the game rules, since Tears of the Kingdom will no doubt get its massive content blowout beginning from February, either being brought back alone to truly ignite the final 100-day push, but potentially also for the reveal of a new model, you know, the one that is the first step in breaking the 6-year console and handheld cycle, a potential reveal that will allow Nintendo to go to PAX East 2023 with the only major public demo and experience of the new model and Zelda prior to May 12th. Either that or simply revealing this model in the final month prior to release, that being April, potentially in a dedicated Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Direct, if Nintendo continues their dedicated strategy they've had from 2022, you know, with dedicated Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Splatoon 3 Directs. But enough hardware and DLC, the latter is a matter we'll return to in the end of the video. Instead, let's talk about brand new reveals and the return of long missing announced games in the first Nintendo Direct of the year. And well, also in the E3 2023 Nintendo Direct come Tuesday, June 13th. And here we'll bring up 3 major franchises that are waiting for their turn back in the spotlight with their next mainline releases: 3D Mario, Donkey Kong, and 3D Metroid. Pokemon will naturally also get a game, either another Let's Go title for Johto based on my favorite region in Japan being Kansai, but more likely than not, we'll see a return to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for its DLC. So let's wait with that until we get to the DLC section. But 3D Mario or Donkey Kong? We all know that Retro Studios are busy with Metroid Prime 4, so they are not developing the next Donkey Kong, which means that DK would need a new development team or a different Nintendo studio if a new game is coming. Though to be completely honest, I see it a little differently, since Super Mario Odyssey was our first hint that the 3D Mario team in Nintendo Tokyo, well, not that one, but in this building behind me, are planning to bring DK back to mainline Mario. The new Donk City Festival and the return of Mario's original love interest Pauline was so beloved, and now Donkey Kong has a major role to play in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. A lovable brute who may beat the Italian-American but eventually team up with him. Hence I don't see it out of the realm of possibility that we might get a new 3D Mario game this year, inspired by what we will see on the big screen come March and April. That is right, a 3D Mario game that is very close to being open world, as we have been heading in that direction since 2016. The reveal of the Switch in October that year with, well, the first tease of Super Mario Odyssey, the proper reveal of Super Mario Odyssey and release with its massive kingdoms in 2017, then in 2020 and 2021, the first brilliant attempt at the open world with Bowser Fury's reveal, release, and 6 to 8 hours of playtime. 3D Super Mario is heading towards the open world for a full title, and unlike Pokemon, it is not being developed by Game Freak, but by one of Nintendo's A-teams, which probably were not too happy with the up to that point stagnant Zelda suddenly selling more than 3D Mario and also stealing the Game Awards at that show, all because of an open-air revolution. The animated Mario movie, but also Super Nintendo World, which currently is Mario World but will soon also be Donkey Kong Country, opens a new possibility and future for Mario, which I think we'll see either in the first Direct or the E3 Direct, especially with Super Nintendo World in Universal Studios Hollywood opening its doors. The more I think of it, the more likely it is that we will see it in February, to maximize hype with the premiere of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which is the big global non-game Nintendo event this year. Not only that, Super Mario Odyssey got its title reveal and first trailer before Breath of the Wild was released, and even before it got its release date in 2017. Entering 2023, we already have Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's release date, which seems more secure than ever, seeing that the game has its release box and ratings as we enter the year. Far more than when Super Mario Odyssey introduced Cappy at the Nintendo Switch presentation in 2017. And just like in that case, you can save the new big Mario game mechanic for E3 2023. I think the time for Mario and Donkey Kong in the same 3D Mario mainline game is 2023, especially with the build-up that we have seen towards the open world for Mario in the last 6 years. Not only that, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is coming out to Peacock and Blu-ray by October, and we all remember which game launched in October 2017, Super Mario Odyssey. And that is enough, so we don't say new 3D Mario in 2023 confirmed. But the stars with 6 years since Odyssey, the Mario movie and Super Nintendo World do align nicely for it, even that big open world star. For now, I will just say that it is more likely that we'll see Donkey Kong in a new Mario game this year than a new Donkey Kong game. Anyway, let's finish the reveal cycle with a return that I don't see until E3 2023, Metroid Prime 4. a game I don't think will come out this year as the 4 fits too well with 2024. Joking aside, I think there are some more serious arguments in that direction. Number 1. Metroid Prime remake of the original Prime from 2002/2003 has already leaked and is all but revealed. More on that after the second argument, which is, it took Retro Studios well over a year since January 2019 to bring the new first-person team together and then starting development during the pandemic, which means that 4 years is to be expected in development time. So back to number 1, as I believe we will see an improved situation from what we saw at E3 2021 during E3 2023. We get the reveal of Metroid Prime Remake featuring some of the mechanics that will be in Metroid Prime 4 coming this September, followed by the first in-engine teaser trailer of Metroid Prime 4, bringing back the title that we've not seen in this new decade from Nintendo with the 4, followed by 2024. Boom, Nintendo wins E3 2023, as we also get a big trailer and release date for Pikmin 4, well as that one is about to release at this point along with the following. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom dominating the sales and review charts, a potential new 3D Mario game revealed in February getting its big trailer at the show, a Super Mario Bros. Movie breaking the box office for video game movies, and a Metroid Prime Remake coming out just a few months with Metroid Prime 4 next year, and massive, and then we mean massive, DLC ending the year. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a given, as Game Freak will be fixing the game throughout the year and probably end this process with a big South Kalos expansion. You know, the one that has been rumored for quite a while, and which would fit perfectly with the new Pokemon anime post-Ash/Satoshi, and this part of Kalos, filling out the missing gap separating Paldea from Northern Kalos and Galar, would be perfect. November 2023 for that one is likely. That way, staying away from the final Wave 6 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass in the first week of December, and leaving the release of the first DLC pack of Tears of the Kingdom's expansion pass for none other than the big gaming night in the second week of December, the Game Awards 2023, where the base game will be in contention for Game of the Year, and award it is likely to win if Nintendo and the Zelda team brings the same DLC/expansion show they did at the Game Awards 2017 for Breath of the Wild. Unless a new 3D Mario game blows us away to an even greater degree than Tears of the Kingdom come October. And that is that for DLC. Pikmin 4 might also get some, but last but not least, I think we will see the culmination of N64 Switch Online this year, and the addition of a new system to the service that was pretty much leaked last year, Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, saving GameCube for the future. And that and far more is why Nintendo's 2023 will be insane. So if you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell to show that you are hyped and to not miss any of our upcoming videos in 2023. Last but not least, a big thanks goes to all of you watching until the end, and to all our patreon.com/Commonroll patrons, and in particular our royal producer Charles Shash. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.